Korea's economic growth rate dropped to an yearly average of 3% in the 2010s, raising concerns over growth potential. The economic growth rate is an indicator for the growth in the sum of all products and services that are produced by a country. As total output is determined by labor, capital input, and productivity, we're able to see the contribution rate of each factor to economic growth. Accordingly, KDI conducted an analysis of the contribution of production factors to the decline in economic growth. It was found that there were no meaningful changes in labor input, while a slowdown was seen in physical capital and total factor productivity, or TFP. Declines were also evident in these two factors in the per capita economic growth rate, implying that the value added created by and the labor productivity of an individual has also dropped. The decline in physical capital contribution is often seen when an economy reaches maturity. In Korea, this means that the downtrend in TFP growth was the major driver of the falling growth, and not that investments have stagnated. Then, why is productivity growth falling? Improvements in the determinants of TFP, i.e. systems, efficient resource allocation, education, and human capital among others, may have slowed. On the other hand, the fall in external demand resulting from the slow growth in international trade following the global financial crisis may have been a contributing factor. In fact, since the financial crisis, Korea's goods exports has declined and the growth in labor productivity, especially manufacturing, has deteriorated significantly. The IMF concluded that the falling growth suffered by the majority of countries following the global financial crisis propelled the fall in growth potential. It also expects that it will take a considerable amount of time to return to pre-crisis levels. Due to such conditions in the world economy, it is hard to expect that Korea's labor productivity will swiftly respond to a recovery in external demand. Based on the analysis, it is expected that Korea's growth rate in 2020 will mark a high 1% if conditions remain the same, and a low to mid 2% if there's an uptick in productivity on continued innovation. The economic growth rate per capita is also expected to stand between a high 1% to a low to mid 2%.
인구 고령화 요인을 감안하면 2020년대에는 경제 성장률이 더 둔화될 것으로 보입니다. 적극적인 재정 정책으로 성장률 하락에 대응하는 방법은 단기적으로 효과가 있겠지만 반복되면 재정의 부담으로 작용할 가능성이 높습니다. 생산성 향상에 좀 더 초점을 맞춘다면 장기적으로 경제 성장률이 하락하는 속도를 늦출 수 있는데요. 제도적인 측면이나 자원 배분의 관점에서 볼 때 우리나라는 아직도 생산성의 향상을 이룰 수 있는 여지가 많이 남아 있습니다.